Welcome back to Morning Coffee here on the Radio Vision Network. It's Monday morning, so we got to recap the weekend in sports. So I have my sports guy on the line. His name is Neil Villapiano. He is the host of the MVP show every Saturday here on Radio Vision Network, and I am not looking forward to speaking with him this morning because the Eagles got boat raced yesterday and the Giants won. Good morning, Neil, and welcome to Morning Coffee.
Good morning, Mark. How are you?
Oh, man, what a day yesterday. I was so excited for that Eagles-Seahawks game, and it just was a mess, and it just proved that the Seahawks are ready to take that next step, and the Eagles are what they are. They're a few wide receivers away, at least, and, you know, they just were overmatched yesterday. What did you see in that Eagles-Seahawks game?
Well, I didn't get a chance to watch most of the game, but what I've noticed, obviously, about the Eagles, and this is the number one thing that concerns me, is just the lack of trust that Carson Wentz has in his receivers. I mean, a lot of his receivers are dropping these passes, and it's just ridiculous at times. And I feel that if Carson Wentz had a little bit more talent, like the Giants do with their wide receiver core, I feel like Carson Wentz's stats would look a lot better, and he would have a lot more success. I give him a ton of credit for the amount of success that he's had so far in the NFL, but I feel that the Eagles really need to fix that problem, because otherwise they're just going to continue to struggle like they did yesterday. And to be honest, I didn't really expect the Eagles to come out and win that game. I thought that they did a good job of keeping it competitive throughout most of it, but in the end they just really could not get a lot going.
Yeah, it's really tough to watch. These wide receivers, he puts the ball in their hands and they don't catch it. This is really, it's becoming old news. It's becoming just a huge problem. I really hope that the Eagles address that because, look, Wentz looks good. The kid looks like he's going to be able to play, but you've got to surround him with talent. We went through this with Donovan McNabb. He never had great receivers until we brought in Terrell Owens. The year we bring in Terrell Owens, we go to the Super Bowl. So what don't these guys understand? A good quarterback needs a good wide receiver to throw the ball to. Look at Pittsburgh yesterday. They didn't have the greatest game in the world, but Roethlisberger and Brown hooked up when they had to, and the Steelers beat those lowly Cleveland Browns like they're supposed to. You need a receiver, Neil.
Well, first of all, the Steelers played the Browns, so it wasn't like it was that big of a deal. But I totally agree with what you're saying. I feel that the Eagles, the good news about this is that they'll be able to evaluate themselves throughout the rest of this year and going into next season. And I think that what the Eagles definitely should do is consider drafting some new rookie receivers and developing them, and also trying to go out and get at least one or two free agent wide receivers to have some veteran leadership, because the Eagles just don't seem to have a lot of leadership, especially on the wide receiver core. And to be honest with you, I can't really figure out who I feel is the best receiver on the Eagles, because none of them have really stood out.
No.
Like I said on my show on Saturday, 2 weeks ago, when I went to go see the Eagles play the Giants at MetLife, none of the receivers really stood out. The only guy that really stood out to me was Darren Sproles, but the Eagles can't rely on him to make a bunch of big plays, in the passing game.
Yeah, and they had a ton of injuries yesterday, and Sproles was one of them. We got a short time today, Neil, so I want to jump over and talk about those Giants real quick.
Sure.
They win again. It looks like the Giants are starting to roll a little bit.
Well, I'm not fully convinced that the offense is fully in sync. They obviously played like absolute garbage in the first half against a 2-win Chicago Bears team, but the way they came out to start the third quarter, scoring touchdowns on their first two drives, is exactly how I think myself and most Giants fans want the offense to be rolling. I thought this last week was going to be the week they'd score 30 points finally, and I guess I was wrong, and I don't know if I should bring my hopes up knowing that they're playing the Browns this week, because I feel like this is a trap game. Just like the Jets, they obviously struggled against the Browns, but were able to come back and win. I just don't, if the Giants come out and struggle, I don't know, things could happen. And I wouldn't like the Giants to be that team that finally helps the Browns win their first game. But, obviously going back to the game, yeah, the Giants, the biggest thing to me is just their defense constantly is making big plays and helping them seal games at the end this year. And that's great.
Yeah, it would be. You know what? It would be great. It would be great if Cleveland beat the Giants. That would be the greatest thing ever. Because honestly, the NFC East, I got nothing to look forward to. The Cowboys keep winning. The Redskins last night take out the Packers. I honestly, who would have thought that the NFC East would be as good as they are, Neil?
Well, I think a lot of people were criticizing the NFC East last year, calling it the NFC Least. You know, not with every team struggling last year. I think it's great that the NFC East is home to three of the possibly top rookies in the NFL this year, with Ezekiel Elliott, Sterling Shepard for the Giants, and Carson Wentz for the Eagles. I think that it's just been a breath of fresh air, and I think it's great that now the NFC East once again is a very competitive division, and that's important, especially in this area.
Yeah. So listen, again, I know that I'm running out of time here, but what do you think about Thursday? The Thursday, we got 3 games coming up on Thanksgiving. How are you looking at them?
Well, I mean, the thing is that, you know, I am not one of those big football guys that watches games on Thanksgiving, to be honest with you, but I think it's big that they're having these games, because I feel like that's something that a lot of people love to do as a family. You know, after having Thanksgiving dinner, they go down and watch some football games. But I just want to mention that there is a big game tonight between the Raiders and Texans in Mexico City, and I think that should be a very fun game to watch. So I think this whole week coming up should be a very fun week of football.
Yeah, it will be great. And just for future reference, you love football on Thanksgiving, and you are going to watch all 3 games and make sure, because on Saturday you're doing your show and you're going to be talking about the games that happened on Thanksgiving, right?
That's true. That's definitely true. That's what I'm going to be. That's one of the things I'll be talking about next week.
That's it. So make sure you check him out every Saturday right here on Radio Vision Network. His name is Neil Villapiano. He hosts the MVP show every Saturday. Thanks, Neil. We'll catch up with you later in the week.
No problem, Mark. See you soon.
Sounds good. Happy Thanksgiving if I don't talk to you.
You as well.
Thank you. So I'm going to take another quick break here on Morning Coffee, but don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back on the Radio Vision Network. Stick around.
When it's time for Jersey Mike's to give a sub some sizzle, this is the way. The way it's always been. The way it always should be. The way it always will be. Because that's just the way it's supposed to be. Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
My dream job